All right, it has been an insane day. At 9:30, we had the William Barr propaganda press conference, which lasted about 20 minutes, which I'll talk about a little bit. We already talked about it sort of on today's broadcast show. And then we had the release of the redacted version of the Mueller report, 400-ish pages. I think the PDF is actually closer to 450 pages. And there is just so much to go through. It's hard to know where to start. I am going to be looking at different things that are in the Mueller report, but I've not gone through every page so far. I've read a whole bunch of it, skimmed through part of it, read pieces written about the Mueller report, and we've just been doing the best we can to sort of keep up with what's going on. So if there are particular elements of it that you want me to look at, I'm also glad to. We'll talk about people that have admitted to lying when they spoke to the special counsel, including Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We will talk about the reasons that Robert Mueller gave for not charging Donald Trump with obstruction, all of which were, not all of which, I will say, most of which were political reasons in nature, which is extraordinarily disturbing. So, all of this and much more, which we will be talking about today. I will remind you that the press conference itself really warrants coverage of its own, William Barr's press conference. But then with the Mueller report coming out, a lot of the focus is there. But William Barr gave an extraordinarily political. I mean, this did not appear to be a Justice Department official. This appeared to be one of Trump's attorneys, talking about how Donald Trump was targeted and framing Donald Trump as the victim and the person who really has been victimized here, despite the fact that the Mueller report points out that there was significant evidence of intent to obstruct and of obstruction by Donald Trump, all of which we will be getting to. And it is, you sort of have to hand it to them. And in my commentary on the broadcast show tomorrow about this, I'm going to say it again. They did it, right? I mean, you had a very well executed, and I get it. Partially, it's well executed because Trumpists are so gullible. But listen, you execute what you need to on the basis of who you need to convince. And Trumpists have fallen hook, line, and sinker for the Barr letter, which sort of primed the pump for people to say, no indictment of Trump? Well, then there's nothing to see here, when, of course, that was never the standard to begin with. The press conference this morning, further propagandizing, and then they don't read a 448-page report. So you've got to hand it to Trump and more likely the people around him who have been able to effectively manage this as a public relations incident, as a public relations event to the benefit of the president. And, I don't like it. I think it's disgusting, but this is Barr's area of expertise. He's covered it up. He's covered up for prior presidents, and he was brought in to do the job, and he did it. I don't know what I don't remember offhand what the cabinet salaries are. Maybe it's 175,000 or 225. I don't remember. A bargain. I mean, truly a bargain for what Donald Trump has gotten from William Barr. And we'll talk more about the Barr press conference if people want me to, but I want to focus in on the report. So as we get into it here, this is a live stream. This is different than the clips that we typically upload in that they are live, meaning that you can participate. The best way to participate in the live streams is using the super chat function. That's the $ at the bottom of the chat window. When you send a super chat, it will pop up on the screen, and then I will read it and I will react to it. If it's a question, I'll answer it. If it's a comment, I will give my thoughts. Sign up for memberships. If you want to call in, if people want to talk about the Mueller report or anything else on the phones, if you want to call me, sign up for a membership on our website, davidpakman.com/membership. There are discount codes down below. And if you want to call in, include your area code in the first or last name field in addition to your name when you sign up. So that way I'll give you priority if and when we open up the phone lines. If you just want the phone lines to be opened and you're not so into calling, then no big deal. We are looking for 10 new members on our website, and that'll get the phone lines open. Please don't troll the live chat. We have more moderators than ever monitoring the live chat, and if you troll, you will be timed out or banned, because bans are free, and we're trying to run a tight ship here. And lastly, you can also use the join button down below, which will allow you to sign up for a membership on YouTube. Those count towards the target of 10, but YouTube does take 30% of your YouTube membership, whereas on our website, we pay just a 2.9% processing fee. So let's get over to the report first and foremost here. And as I mentioned, 448 pages. There is a lot here that we could look at. And if you have specific pages that you want me to look at, let me know in the super chat. Please refer to them. Now, that's a good question. Do I want you to refer to them by the page as numbered on the report, or do I want you to refer to it as the page of the PDF? I don't know. Just tell me PDF page or report page so that I can more easily identify them. This was a redacted version of the report, and as people saw, if they looked at it, some pages mildly redacted, some pages, if we scroll further down, very, very significantly redacted. As you get down into the pages numbered 20 and later, more and more redactions to the point where some pages you see only the citation. I mean, whatever page this is, 17, all that is not redacted are 2 of the, however many there are here, 8 footnotes or whatever. And otherwise, this one sentence, otherwise completely redacted. And what is really important to take away from the redactions, in addition to the fact that we're not getting a lot of the material on a lot of these issues and pages, is that if we believe this redaction reason that's cited, which says harm to ongoing matter, what that tells us is that not redacting these portions would potentially damage ongoing matters. This is understood to mean between 12 and 14 referred cases, which continue to be active. And for everybody, we can debate. There won't be any more indictments. There will be more indictments. We don't know the answer to that. What we do know is that the Mueller grand jury continues to operate, and 12 to 14 at minimum additional investigations are still going on here. And that is what it means when something is redacted for the reason of harm to ongoing matter. That could also be a lie, right? So this is assuming that this is the correct and accurate reason why these redactions have taken place. Let's look at a couple different things. One of the issues that has come up time and again is that of whether the special counsel was able to identify intent in Donald Trump's actions that could have or were meant to obstruct the investigation. We'll get later to this issue of underlying crimes, but what's really important to understand is that the report does discuss intent, and it discusses it in a number of different places. One notable place, I forget exactly which page this is, actually has a subsection C called intent. And it says substantial evidence, substantial evidence, substantial evidence. Really important to understand when people are saying no evidence, the report says substantial evidence indicates that the president's effort, this is just one example, to have Jeff Sessions limit the scope of the special counsel's investigation to future election interference was intended to further prevent investigative scrutiny of the president's and his campaign's conduct. You might have forgotten that this even took place. Let me remind you what this was even about. There was a moment before Jeff Sessions recused himself from anything Russia-related, which of course was the right move since he had lied about his personal contacts with Russians. Who's remembering that at this point? There was a moment where Donald Trump wanted Jeff Sessions to restrict the investigation and say, okay, Mueller can do his investigation. The investigation can take place, but it has to be only about future election interference and preventing interference at some point in the future. Trump was so disconnected from the reality of what this probe was about that he actually went to Jeff Sessions and he wanted the probe, rather than obviously being about what Trump did and what the campaign did and what took place in the lead up to and during Trump's administration, Trump had the bright idea of telling Jeff Sessions, focus the investigation in only on the future possible interference. And of course, this is one of the many sections in the probe report, which says, no, we have identified, the investigators identified that Donald Trump's motivation, in other words, his intent, was to prevent a full investigation into what he had done. This is intent to obstruct. That's it. And this is just one example, and there are many more. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Let's see if I can get this framed properly for you. One of the other revelations, and again, I'm going through some of these things piecemeal because there are 450 pages to this thing, and I've only had time to look at some of it. If you have something specific you want me to pull up in the report, in your super chat, tell me what page you want me to look at, and we can look at it together. Sarah Huckabee Sanders admitted to the special counsel that she lied about James Comey. She's claiming that these were slips of the tongue, but we have some of the video, and I think it's very hard to believe that. You'll notice here that this Mother Jones article explains, after a reporter claimed that a vast majority of agents supported James Comey, Sarah Huckabee Sanders replied, look, we've heard from countless members of the FBI that say very different things. Let's take a look at some of this video, and let me make sure we're set up to actually hear it.
Sarah, what gives you such confidence that rank and file within the Bureau lost faith in the FBI director? There's a special agent who's inside who wrote us, who said, the vast majority of the Bureau is in favor of Director Comey. This is a total shock. This is not supposed to happen. The real losers here are 20,000 frontline people in the organization because they lost the only guy working here in the past 15 years who actually cared about them. So what's your response to these rank and file FBI agents who disagree with your contention that they lost faith in Director Comey?
Look, we've heard from countless members of the FBI that say very different things. In fact, the president will be meeting with acting director McCabe later today to discuss that very thing, the morale at the FBI, as well as make an offer to go directly to the FBI if he feels that that's necessary.
Okay. So that, as this is indicated, that response was not founded on anything, Mueller's office concluded after interviewing Sanders, who told special counsel staffers she made a slip of the tongue. It's not a slip of the tongue. A slip of the tongue is, if I want to say Mitch McConnell and I say bitch McConnell. A slip of the tongue is if I'm referring to Fox News reporter Steve Doocy and I slip and I say Steve Doocy, for example. Those are slips of the tongue. Responding to a question by saying, we've heard from countless FBI agents who support the president of the United States, or however it was that she worded it. That's not a slip of the tongue. That's just a lie. Okay. So many of you will say, David, she lies every day. Every day that she speaks to the press corps, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is lying. Yes, we knew that. We inferred that. We had that belief already, but we now have a special prosecutor who determined that when it came down to it, Sarah Huckabee Sanders told the truth and she admitted that wasn't true. She just made that up. Just one example of the many people who have been identified as having been liars by the special counsel's report. Let's continue here. Mueller Report. Trump tried to get special counsel fired. There are a bunch of different revelations which this BBC article reveals, and we will look at a couple of them here. Mr. Trump reportedly used an expletive when the investigation was announced, adding, "Oh my God, this is terrible. This is the end of my presidency." Not mentioned there is that he also said, "I'm fucked." Now, if you believe that the investigation is going to clear you, you wouldn't ordinarily say that, right? And I know that people on Twitter are defending this by saying, no, Trump didn't think he was fucked because he believed he had done anything. Trump believed he was fucked because people told him that special counsels destroy a presidency and prevent you from being able to do anything. Okay, that's the most charitable, strongest defense of this. But when you continue to look at the special counsel and the things that report and the things that Donald Trump said, you very quickly develop a picture of someone who doesn't believe that they're going to have a problem merely because there is an investigation, but rather because of what the investigation is going to find. And we'll get to some of those examples later. Robert Mueller examined 10 actions by the president in regards to obstruction of justice, which he said largely took place in public view. The report says that potential obstruction of justice by the president only failed because members of his administration, including former FBI Director James Comey, refused to carry out orders. These two bullet points are extraordinarily important because Robert Mueller, and I don't have the page number in front of me, Robert Mueller explained that the reasons he decided not to charge Donald Trump with obstruction were, Number one, that he, in some attempts, failed to actually obstruct because members of his administration refused to go along with what he said, because some of the attempts at obstructing took place in public view, which criminally speaking doesn't matter. Legally speaking shouldn't matter. And number three, because Robert Mueller believed that charging the president with obstruction would significantly hinder or impair his ability to carry out his duties as president. That's a political reason, okay? That's a political reason not to charge the president. That is separate from the evidence. And that's a theme of this report, that there was plenty of evidence of wrongdoing by a whole bunch of different people, but politically motivated reasons were made not to bring charges. Investigators viewed the president's written responses to their questions as inadequate, but chose not to pursue a potentially lengthy legal battle to interview him. If you ask me, what are the most depressing elements of this report, this bullet point is part of that. And I want to get to that element next. Okay. I said this at the beginning and I have to say it again. And by the way, I see that there are a whole bunch of super chats coming up, and please keep sending them with elements you want me to look at. I will get to those one by one. And if you want to call in about this stuff, I'll open the phone lines if we get 10 new members. Okay. And then you can call in and talk to me about this or anything else. Sign up on our website, davidpakman.com/membership. I see new memberships coming in and I see super chats coming in, and I will get to that, but I don't want to interrupt what we're discussing here. Everybody, I hesitate to use the term everybody, but almost everybody understands that Donald Trump physically sitting down with Robert Mueller or his investigators would have been disastrous for Trump. Trump lies uncontrollably. Trump also seems to not sometimes know that people can tell that he is lying. He thinks he's an extraordinarily good liar. Maybe part of it's related to cognitive decline. We don't know, okay? But Trump sitting down with investigators would have been a disaster. And one of the biggest achievements of Donald Trump's legal team in this entire thing, and hats off to them, is that they convinced Robert Mueller to accept the submission of written questions and then written answers back to Robert Mueller. And we now have those answers. And one of the most disgusting elements of this entire thing is that, as the report says, investigators did not find those written answers adequate, but they didn't pursue it because of the lengthy legal battle that would have ensued. This is once again a decision made on political expediency, right? It would have been a mess legally to force Donald Trump to come in and sit down. And look at the answers that Donald Trump got away with giving. These are a whole bunch of the questions that were asked. So section I, about the meeting at Trump Tower. When did you first learn that Junior and Manafort, Kushner were considering this meeting? Did Don Jr. tell you about the communications he was having? Right? Really specific questions, really key stuff. Okay. If we scroll down here a bit, and you can look at the full list of questions, you will see that Donald Trump's answers are that he just doesn't remember anything. Donald Trump, who has claimed to have one of the greatest memories, period, right? One of the greatest memories of all time, of all Americans. Who knows how he phrased it? I have no recollection of learning at the time that Don Jr., Paul, or Jared were considering having this meeting. He just doesn't remember. Best memory of all time, doesn't remember. Question 1, Part D. I have no independent recollection of what portion of these 4 days in June of 2016 I spent in Trump Tower. This was related to trying to figure out if Trump was in the building when the meeting with the Russian lawyer took place. What else? My Trump Organization calendar reflects that I was outside Trump Tower. Okay. I have no independent recollection of any communications I had with the Agalarov family or anyone I understood to be representing them. I do not recall being aware of the campaign of communications between Don Jr., Paul Manafort, or Jared Kushner, and members of the Agalarov family, or Robert Goldstone, or the Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya, whose name I was not familiar with at the time, or anyone understood to be a Russian official. What else do we have? Examples of this. I have no recollection of being told during the campaign that Putin or the Russian government supported my candidacy or opposed the candidacy of Hillary Clinton, but I was aware of reports indicating that Putin had made complimentary statements about me. Who believes that garbage? Who believes that Donald Trump can't remember any point during the campaign, given all of the 100+ contexts that were going on, that somebody mentioned to him, hey, Russia has a favorable view, that Russia supports you, or Russia doesn't want Hillary to win. And if he had no recollection of that, why did he think it would have been a reasonable request to ask that Russia hack Hillary's emails? Unbelievable, completely unbelievable, but he got away with it. I have no recollection of being told during the campaign that any foreign government or foreign leader had provided, wished to provide, or offered to provide tangible support to my campaign. The guy with the best memory of any kind doesn't remember, excuse me, punching my mic there, and I apologize. He doesn't remember a damn thing. So no sane person, no rational person, no remotely informed person would believe that Donald Trump both has the best memory or a good memory. He just can't remember a damn thing. He doesn't remember anything from the campaign. And who does he have to thank for this? His attorneys, who negotiated for month after month after month and got Mueller to agree to just accept written answers from Donald Trump. I mean, these attorneys, if I take an agnostic view about what's better for the country, knowing what happened or not knowing what happened, or people being held accountable or not, as attorneys, they did an extraordinarily good job. Wonder if they got paid, because we know Trump often doesn't pay his bills. Let's look at a couple of other things. Well, maybe we'll pause here. Let's pause here, and then let me do some new member thank yous and get to some super chats. So I'll open the phone lines at 617-830-4750. I see a lot of people commenting in the chat that they want to call in. I will open the phone lines as soon as we get 10 new members on our website. Jason Ford is this evening's first new member. Jason Ford signing up using the coupon code THISIS2020. That saves him 40% off of his membership. Let me make you sort of an offer. If you want to be one of the first people to call in, when you sign up at davidpakman.com/membership, in the first or last name field, in addition to your name, put your area code. I will make a note of it on a piece of paper that is right in front of me with this pen. And then when we open the phone lines, I'll go to you first. Okay. So if you want to talk to me, be one of the next 9 people to sign up, include your area code, and then we'll get you a priority on the phone lines. 2 coupon codes are available. This is 2020, saves you 40% off of any membership. Save 35 will only work on the $60 a year membership, and it'll drop it to just $25, which I have to tell you is a damn good deal. It is a very, very good deal. Okay, let's check out some super chats. There are a lot of people with comments and questions about what is going on here. Let's see. This is from a different day, but G. Burns says, your video on misdemeanors and systemic criminal justice discrepancies due to poverty is excellent. Thank you very much. Brittany Michelle became a YouTube member. I guess this is earlier today. We had a $1 super chat that was retracted. The political one asks, Vegeta, does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000. Hey, David, do you think Trump has authoritarian tendencies? If yes, what are they? Yes, he does. He has tendencies towards being an autocrat. He has tendencies towards restricting press freedom by suggesting opening up libel lawsuits and journalism licenses and all this stuff. He said he thought the idea of what China did, allowing president for life, was interesting, and maybe we would try it. That's fundamentally against the sort of democratic founding principles of the United States. So there are many. And by the way, I know it's not Vegeta. I just like to pretend I don't know what's going on. Alfonso Saldana says, check out movetoamend.org and endorse us maybe. Thanks. Yeah, isn't Move to Amend John Bonifaz's organization? I know John from Western Mass and sat next to him on a flight back from D.C. once, actually. Shosoy Baboso says, Bernie went ultra instinct in the Fox News town hall. Yeah, he crushed it. Check out my analysis of the Fox News town hall. Horror Fan for Life says, great live cast, David. Trump is the deep state. Okay. G says, DPM. I have no idea what that means. James Buccino says, have any other presidents been as corrupt as Trump? I don't know that we'll know yet. I think you don't really get perspective on a lot of this stuff until a little time goes by, but he's certainly up there. Horror Fan for Life says, David, huge fan and want to call in sometime. Have a lot to say. I ask this because I'm a lifelong stutterer and it's been making me a little nervous. Okay, well, we've had stutterers call in before, and I don't know what else to say. I don't know that much about stuttering, interestingly enough. FRBE0101 says, I give you money monthly via your website, but I only listen to you via YouTube. What other ways can I listen? Well, we've got a podcast, which is available on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, iTunes, and also on our website. And you can add it to any podcast feed that you have. We're on nearly 200 radio and television stations. The show is on Free Speech TV, which is on DirecTV and Dish Network nightly. So many other ways to listen. And we have a members-only commercial-free audio and video feed, which you can access by going to the member content section of our website, which, as you can see, is up here in the menu area. It only displays if you have an active membership. Otherwise, it is hidden from view. A few ways that you can do it. Incredibo TV. Whoop, it scrolled up. Here we go. Been a member for a month, and it's the shiznit. If you ain't rocking with Pac-Man, then that's sad. Trump voice. Sign up ASAP. F-Adpocalypse 2.0. Yes, F-Adpocalypse 2.0. And in fact, Grayson Smith has just signed up on our website. Grayson Smith is the newest member. He is not taking any coupon code discounts, paying the full rate. Grayson, really appreciate it. That's new member number 2. 8 to go, and I'll open up the phone lines. Kripa Nippa says, no money to travel to Washington to protest. Was this the plan? Well, listen, I mean, if you're generally, so yes, generally there is this dynamic where we hear that all sorts of people are saying that if X happens or if Y happens, they will descend on Washington, D.C. or wherever, and they will protest. The reality is people are busy, right? Wage stagnation, growing income inequality, difficult to afford healthcare, difficult to afford cost of living since wages stay the same and cost of living goes up. So when the rubber meets the road, a lot of people just can't take time off from work and go protest. And that's something we've addressed before. Adjacent Brown 12 says, hey, David, what do you think of the JBP versus Zizek? I forget how to pronounce the last name. I heard that they would be debating. Has it happened, or do you mean what do I think of the idea? If it hasn't happened yet, I'd be sort of curious about Jordan Peterson versus Zizek. They both have Jordan Peterson's way of debating is it includes a lot of sort of tangential thinking, and he can be sort of difficult to follow. And then Zizek's way of thinking and speaking is completely tangential. So I hope that they don't spend 2 hours introducing themselves and arguing about the right way to introduce themselves and not get to anything, because they both are liable to do that. BizWiz says the report didn't exonerate Trump from obstruction. In fact, it did quite the opposite. What the hell are our legislative leaders going to do about it? Probably nothing. Probably nothing, sadly. And that is part of why I am praising Trump's lawyers as having managed this in an extraordinarily smart way, because there will probably be no consequences. Alex Malone says, I have a question for the main show. Can I send a voicemail from 610? Yeah, I mean, you can submit questions any number of ways for the regular show, and voicemail is one of those ways. Enter Name sends a $5 super chat and then another $5 super chat with the question, what's your thought on 2020 Democratic candidate? Very, very clever. You think I don't watch Howard Stern? Listen to Howard Stern. Lakers fan, will Trump... You almost got me there. You really did almost get me there. Lakers fan, will Trump chicken out of the debates if Bernie is the nominee? No, he will not. No, he will not. James Buccino, do you know when the Pac-Man show live in Boston is? Yeah, we're looking at doing a live event here in Boston. We are currently in the process of reaching out to possible guests for the interview portion, and we are trying to figure that out in conjunction with the date. We have a location that will work, so no announcement yet, James, but I will let you know when I know more about it. It may well end up being limited to 50 people for two reasons. One, There's a really great space that we like and is well located, but it only has room for 60, and we need like 10 for our staff and the event staff and the guests and their staff and that type of thing. So we were initially thinking of it as like a 150 person venue, but it might be limited to 50, in which case we'd have to think about how we're going to manage ticket sales and that type of thing. But I will let you know as soon as I have more information about it. Okay, we have a third new member that I want to welcome, Brian Molina. Brian Molina, signing up at full price, but you don't have to sign up at full price. We now have 3 new members. If 7 more people sign up, I will open up the phone lines. I'm noticing that all sorts of voicemails are coming in right now on the phone line, which is 617-830-4750. The phone line is not yet open. The phone line is 617-830-4750, but it won't be open until we get 10 new members, which means 3 more. Memberships are not a lot of money, and we really do a lot of stuff for our members, including the members-only newsletter, the members-only bonus show, which is daily, the members-only commercial-free audio stream of the show, the members-only commercial-free video stream of the show. And if you apply the coupon code SAVE35 to the $60 a year membership, it's just $25 for the year. Okay, it's $2.08 a month is what it works out to. It's not a lot of money, and with the continued issues with YouTube demonetizing a bunch of our videos, it really makes a big difference for our funding source to have these memberships, and that's why I'm thrilled that Jason Ford signed up tonight, and Grayson Smith signed up tonight, and Brian Molina signed up. And as an extra incentive, if you include your area code when you sign up, in addition to your name in either the first or last name field, I will make a note of your area code down here. And when we open the phone lines, you can talk to me first, just as an extra incentive to get people signing up, because it is a really big thing and an important thing for us. Okay, there's a couple other things I wanted to talk about related to the Mueller report. Whoa, that is very zoomed in. Chuck Todd had a commentary that Donald Trump and William Barr successfully neutered the impact of the Mueller report. Oh, no.
That's all there's.
There we go. And I couldn't agree with him more. This is one of the points I made today on the broadcast show, and which I will follow up on tomorrow during the broadcast show. NBC Meet the Press moderator Chuck Todd on Thursday said Trump and Barr successfully neutered the impact of the Mueller report politically by their actions in the weeks following the report's conclusions. Todd said the political implications of the report would have been very different if Barr simply released a statement saying there were no recommendations for criminal charges, and if he said, "I'm looking into everything regarding how this investigation started, the investigation itself, and all those things, period." Had he said all those things without using buzzwords, without doing a press conference, without writing a summary, without making a decision on his own and taking matters into his own hands, we'd have a different conversation right now, and we'd have a much different interpretation of Bill Barr as Attorney General. The president and Bill Barr have successfully neutered the impact of the Mueller report politically. That's the bottom line. Absolutely spot on. I don't really ever watch Chuck Todd, and when I have, I've not been super impressed with what he says. But I've been making this case for a while now. The installation, I would actually go back to the selection of Matthew Whitaker on an interim basis, followed by the installation of William Barr, followed by the letter, followed by everything else that we saw. It has been carried out perfectly. And this is why, more than likely, even though the report, as we've been talking about, has found substantial evidence of corruption, found all sorts of concerning material, found all sorts of liars, found all sorts of people who had the intent to obstruct the investigation, it will probably end up with almost no political impact whatsoever, no legal impact whatsoever. The political impact question will be left for November of 2020 to people voting. Very interesting article on the Daily Beast. Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit here. The crazy zoom. I don't know why it happens. Here we go. A bunch of different highlights that the Daily Beast found. The Trump "I'm fucked" moment is quite notable. Donald Trump, when he found out that the investigation was taking place, claimed that he believed it was the end of his presidency, asking Jeff Sessions, "How could you let this happen? Everyone tells me if you get one of these independent counsels, it ruins your presidency. It takes years and years, and I won't be able to do anything. This is the worst thing that ever happened to me." Trump screamed, "I don't have a lawyer," after Sessions' recusal. That's just a funny thing. Let me see if I can go full screen with this. That's just a funny thing because it shows that once again, Donald Trump saw the attorney general as his lawyer. And of course, that's not the case in reality in terms of how it's all supposed to work. But it certainly has worked out that way. And particularly, it has worked out that way with the selection of William Barr, who has effectively functioned as Donald Trump's lawyer. McGahn refused to participate in the Saturday night massacre. This is very interesting. And according to the report, substantial evidence supports the conclusion that Trump ordered McGahn to order Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who oversaw the Mueller investigation following Sessions' recusal, to have the special counsel removed. McGahn resisted ordering Mueller's firing at Trump's behest in June of 2017. That's another attempt to obstruct. This is another attempt to obstruct, and a huge, huge discovery, revelation from the Mueller report. Trump ordered Lewandowski to get Sessions to cover for him. 2 days after telling McGahn to fire Mueller and end the investigation, Trump made another attempt to affect the course of the Russia investigation, according to the special counsel report. During a one-on-one meeting with former campaign manager Corey Lewandowski, the president dictated a message for him to give to Sessions. That message, Sessions should publicly announce that notwithstanding his recusal from the Russia investigation, the investigation was very unfair to the president and that the president had done nothing wrong, which is an insane thing to request that he say. At another private meeting a month later, Trump asked Corey Lewandowski about the message to Sessions to limit the special counsel investigation to future election interference, which Lewandowski reassured Trump would be delivered soon. Hours after that meeting, Trump lashed out at Sessions in an interview with the New York Times, saying that he would have selected another attorney general if he had known Sessions would recuse himself. Lewandowski did not want to deliver the president's message personally, according to the report. So he asked senior White House official Rick Dearborn to deliver it. Dearborn was uncomfortable with the task and did not follow through, the special counsel notes. Another theme, people recognizing that many of Donald Trump's attempts to obstruct are hugely, hugely problematic and refuse to do them. Trump's lawyers to Cohen, stay on message. Longtime Trump attorney Michael Cohen, who's serving 3 years in federal prison on charges of tax fraud and lying to federal investigators, told a judge in December that he had covered up the president's dirty deeds. According to the special counsel report, evidence exists that Cohen's cover-ups were encouraged by the president and his legal team, who Cohen alleges told him to stay on message and not contradict Trump during congressional testimony. According to the report, Trump's conduct towards Cohen changed from praise when he falsely minimized the president's involvement in the Trump Tower Moscow project to castigation of Cohen when he became a cooperating witness. Once again, this is what Michael Cohen told us, and this is corroborated by the special counsel report. Again, who was lying? Was it Cohen that was lying or not? It appears that Cohen was telling the truth when he said that during his congressional testimony. Let me do a couple of other super chats as they come in here. Comic Book Kid 210 has signed up for a membership. That is new member number 4 of the evening. We are looking for 10. I also want to say hello to, we have one other new member here and it just scrolled past. Scott White. Scott White is new member number 5 on our website, which gets us halfway there. 10 memberships, and I will open up the phone lines. We are currently at 5. Elias Tarachis says, report released just before major holiday/weekend. Yeah, I don't normally I do look at that very closely. I mean, I guess that the report could have been held until Monday or Tuesday, but I don't know how much weight I put into that. I mean, it is Thursday. I get that a lot of people are going away tomorrow for either Easter or Passover. I don't know that it's that obvious in this particular case, that that was the idea, that the idea was to sort of take attention away in that way. And quite frankly, the snow job that has been done by William Barr and by everybody surrounding Trump was so well executed for the Trumpist audience. Remember, the left hasn't really fallen for it, but the right has. That I don't even think they needed to sort of hide the report around Easter Passover weekend. James Buccino says, David, do you watch anime? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. David, do you watch anime? I don't. The only anime movie that I've ever seen is Spirited Away. I watched it years ago. I don't know how long. I think it was on an airplane. And I liked it. But no, I don't watch anime. And I also read Akira, the graphic novel. And it's not, I mean, I don't dislike it. It's not exactly my thing. I don't find it super compelling. Mavis Leyva says the moderators are too authoritarian. You can't even comment using all caps. Let me take a look at what's going on here. We have moderators who are very, very eager. Let's see here. I'm not seeing, let's see. So message deleted. Let's see what some of these deleted messages are. Eat shite and die. Yeah, okay, that's a fair message to delete. That seems to make sense. Let's look at other moderation that is taking place. Someone was timed out for 30 seconds. A message was deleted. The message was, WTF are you blabbering, soy boy? Yeah, it's in all caps, but I think if you sent that message not in all caps, it still would have been timed out. You're just trolling. Let's look at another sample message. Please, people, calm down. Yeah, you know, I don't know that I would time someone out merely for putting please, people, calm down in all caps. Maybe we can change our policy on that. I don't think we need to time some of these all caps messages out. People saying limit the all caps posts, which makes sense. What else do we have here? You know, so far I'm pretty happy with the moderation, I have to say. Although I think the all caps messages, if it's just one line and they're not trolling, I think it's okay. Let's see here. What else did I want to get to from the Mueller report? A couple of other examples. Trump encouraged witnesses not to cooperate. So again, we're in one of these situations where we have to sort of distinguish between a degree of evidence that rises to the level of criminality versus a degree of evidence that counts towards the thing we believe the person was trying to do. The report makes it abundantly clear that Donald Trump was tampering with witnesses in trying to get them not to cooperate. But again, the detail is the report states no principle of law excludes public acts from the reach of the obstruction laws if the likely effect of public acts is to influence witnesses or alter their testimony. The harm to the justice system's integrity is the same. But the special counsel contended that some evidence supports a conclusion that the president intended, at least in part, to influence Manafort's jury, but said that alternative explanations for Trump's comments, including that he genuinely felt sorry for Manafort, prevent a firm contention that the president had a corrupt intent behind this encouragement. For everybody who was saying all along, Mueller is a partisan actor against Trump, Mueller is in the pocket of the Dems or whatever, look at what it says right there. The benefit of the doubt was given to Donald Trump. The benefit of the doubt was given to Donald Trump. And because Mueller was able to sort of concoct alternative reasons for which Donald Trump might have been publicly saying things about Paul Manafort, the decision was made that it didn't rise to the level of criminality. This next part, we basically know Mueller, Trump told Comey to kill the Flynn investigation. We already knew that. but it's good to know that the Mueller report corroborates public reporting about it. Why Mueller didn't subpoena President Trump. This is extraordinarily disturbing. Trump's legal team was prepared to wage a war to keep the president from being subpoenaed into testifying under oath before Robert Mueller, but the battle never came. Mueller never sought to legally compel the president to testify. The special counsel writes that while lawyers had determined that the special counsel possesses both the authority and legal justification to grand jury subpoena Trump, he declined in view of the substantial delay that such an investigative step would likely produce at a late stage in our investigation. It wasn't convenient to subpoena Trump. It wasn't convenient to subpoena Trump. And what it led to is Donald Trump answering all of these questions with he just doesn't remember. I have no recollection. I have no recollection. I have no recollection. I have no specific recollection. I do not recall being aware. That is why we got these BS answers from Donald Trump, which investigators agreed were inadequate, but Robert Mueller simply didn't want to get into the legal process of these subpoenas at the point at which he felt was nearing the end of the investigation. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Some evidence that Trump knew of Flynn's conversations with the Russian ambassador. Again, no evidence, no awareness, no recollection. Well, there's evidence that Trump at least knew that one person, Michael Flynn, was having conversations with a Russian ambassador. So at every instance, if you actually look at the detail of this report, it almost doesn't matter because they've already done such a great PR campaign in selling exonerated, selling no collusion, selling all of this different stuff. But if you look at the detail, some portion of almost every allegation that was seriously made, not Trump personally colluded with Putin, not the PP tapes, but all of the serious allegations that we thought had merit are backed by at least some evidence in the Mueller report, which is, I don't even know the right word to apply to it. Let me do a couple of other super chats that are coming in. I want to say thanks to Dana Eisenhower. Dana Eisenhower has signed up as a new member at davidpakman.com/membership. That's new member number 6. If you want the phone lines opened, we do need 4 more members, and pretty quickly, because I don't have unlimited time for a stream tonight. I see people continuing to leave voicemails on the phone line, but it is not yet open. 4 more members, and I will open that up. Did Mueller make a political decision by not being more aggressive in regard to speaking with Trump? Yeah. Oh, so I actually just got to that. And absolutely, David Atkins, Esquire, absolutely, he did. And if you look at, again, if you look at what he says here, it was basically a convenience thing and a political decision that led to no subpoena for Donald Trump and Trump getting away with these completely bogus written answers where he simply doesn't remember anything. Alf says, Big D, Grandpa Sanders 2020. Okay, a Bernie supporter in the audience. Picturing my love, David, just wanted to say hi, David Senpai. Yeah, I don't even know what that means, but I think it is another thing from manga or anime. I'm kidding. Please don't clip that and make another viral video. Doug Condor, Mr. P, you haven't talked about Notre Dame. We did talk about it on our members-only bonus show. There has been so much news this week, and I didn't really have anything particularly notable to add other than I've been to Notre Dame several times. I plan to visit, and maybe still do, plan to visit the site in a couple of weeks when I am back in France for a work project. And we did have an extensive conversation about it on the members-only bonus show, which you would have access to if you were a member, and which Dennis Kababic or Kababic now has access to as new member number 7 of the evening. Dennis, thank you so much for signing up. No coupon code for Dennis, paying full price. Really appreciate that. But if you want, there are 2 coupon codes down in the video description. 3 more members, and I will open up the phone lines. Another super chat from Ford8484. Hey, new member, question. Do you think it's more likely in 2020 more progressives get out to vote or convert independents? New member 716 area code. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see. Ford was, Jason Ford. Okay. Did I miss it? No, I said, okay. Jason Ford from 716. I'll make a note in case we get the phone lines open so that Jason can call in. I think that the path of least resistance to winning in 2020 is get people who are already on our side to the polls, okay? Converting independents, maybe. Converting Trumpists, waste of time. So I still think just getting progressives to vote is the best strategy. John Mora comments on Neera Tanden, Think Progress versus Bernie. Yeah, I addressed this yesterday, actually. Yesterday on the show, we talked about the New York Times article outlining and sort of identifying, having to adjust here, identifying Neera Tanden as one of the people who's been going to these Stop Bernie meetings, and I think it's vile. I've commented on it extensively already, so I won't do more, but check out my video from yesterday about it. Brian Ferren says, happy Passover. Thoughts on Netanyahu re-election? Listen, I have been speaking out against Benjamin Netanyahu for, I don't even remember how many years at this point. Benjamin Netanyahu's presence as the prime minister of Israel is completely toxic. There is no credible path to peace if Benjamin Netanyahu is the president. That I don't know how else I can say it. And thank you for the Passover wishes. I will be going to a Seder on Saturday evening. And it will be probably pretty boring, like most Seders, but it is part of the tradition. Adjacent Brown says, hey, David, what do you think will happen to DACA? I don't know what will happen to DACA, but I do not believe for a second that Republicans are going to start deporting people who came to the U.S. as kids illegally. I just don't. I think they recognize that politically it's not viable. And that's it. So I think this is not legal advice, of course, but I think that DACA recipients are going to be okay. Mavis Leyva says, explain the logistics of watching the David Pakman Show as a member, YouTube without ads. Yeah, it's very easy. When you become a member and you're logged in, this member content option appears at the top of the website. When you click that, you get a whole different section of the website, which has links to YouTube videos that include the full daily 1 hour show with no ads and the bonus show. You can skip waiting around for our individual clips to publish each day. It is what I would call VIP treatment. So log in, click on member content, and you'll be good. Kent Iverson is a new YouTube member. That's new member number 8 of the evening. And Ian Cross has signed up on our website using the coupon code THISIS2020, saving 40%. That's new member number 9 of the evening. So we're just one new member away. Listen, here's my last pitch of the evening, because if we don't make it, we're not going to make it. The program mostly is funded by people who say, hey, I'm going to support you with a few bucks a month. I would love it if you signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. I believe that the normal rates of $6 a month or $60 a year are extraordinarily reasonable for everything that you get as a member and the amount of content we produce. But I get that that's a lot of money for many people. So we have discounts available. If you want to save 40%, that'll drop the $6 to just $3.60 a month. Use the coupon code THISIS2020. If you want to get a yearly membership for $25 and be able to renew it at that price for as long as you want, use the coupon code SAVE35 and apply it to the $60 membership, and that'll get you a yearly membership for $25. I know that most people in the audience can afford $2.05 a month, and it would really mean a lot to me, and it would really mean a lot to the show if you signed up at any level, that one included. Shane Babka. Love when I see that. Babka, of course, one of my 2 favorite desserts. Do you still stay in touch with Louis? Yes, it's Louis. And I was just actually, I think I have a message from him right now. He is like a week late on our former Congressman Richard Neal supporting a bill to prevent the government from doing free tax filing software online. And I said to Louis, yeah, I covered it last week, and he's all confused about it. And I sent him the link, and yeah, everything's fine with Louis. I keep in touch with him, and I'm going to be seeing him this weekend, Passover weekend. I will be seeing Louis, and he has an exciting trip coming up, actually, which I guess I shouldn't talk about, only because maybe he doesn't want people knowing where he's going. He could get mobbed by the fans, but he has a very interesting trip coming up, and maybe he'll Skype in from it. Although the time difference, this is a hint, the time difference will make it difficult. Ella May is a new member on YouTube using the join button down below. Thank you very much for signing up. Carpe Donnelly says Mueller's revelation that Russia funded several rallies to sow additional dissent, is that not the most concerning part moving forward? I'm glad you're bringing that up. I'm going to make a note of that. I haven't seen that yet. Again, it's 448 pages, and I've not gone through all of it. So I will make a note of that and check that out. That would be extraordinarily disturbing. Okay, we've gotten 10 new members, so let's open up the phone lines a little bit. 617-830-4750, 4750. That's the phone number, 617-830-4750. I'm going to take a few phone calls from people in the audience. If you want to expedite your way on, become a member and include your area code in the first or last name field so that I know that it is you. And that will get you. Oh,
Thank you for calling.
That will get you to the front of the line. Otherwise, 617-830-4750, and you may have to wait a little bit. Let me get my notes here so I can. We put every caller in caller ID with very specific notes about how their connection was and how everything is going. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Thanks to Rob Brady. Rob Brady has signed up on our website. And a huge, huge super chat from Khalil Ahmadi, 200 Danish kroner. I actually don't know how much that is in US dollars. I think you divide by 10 or do you divide by 4? I think it might have been 10. I was in Copenhagen recently. I think it was sandwiches that were 200 Danish kroner, I think were $20. Yeah, I think that's right. Some say there will need to be a UBI in place in the future. Do you agree? And if so, when? Also, speaking of Notre Dame, Ubisoft giving away unlimited copies of AC Unity in respect of the incident. Yeah, I mean, listen, we need to re-examine our relationship to work. That period. That's the only things are changing for Homo sapiens in the industrialized world. And I think at a certain point, there is going to need to be something that is not means tested that says, if you're doing the type of work that's not normally well compensated in the market, if you're doing creative work, if you're doing social entrepreneurship type work that may not be well compensated, you still deserve to have an okay life. So I think eventually we will need that. And I would say probably within the next 7 to 10 years. Okay, let's go to the phone line, 617-830-4750. Thanks to Corey Smoot, who has signed up. If you want to get right on the phone with me, include your area code when you call in. That way I know that you are a new member. Let's first go to our caller from the, I can't tell if this is country code 18 or area code 865. Who's this?
Hey, this is Brian.
Hey, Brian, where are you calling from?
Calling from Knoxville.
Oh, okay. All right. Is it area code 865? Is that what's going on?
It is, and it actually spells out vol for the volunteers.
Oh, all right. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you. My question is, and I came up with this because I didn't know there was this whole Stop Bernie movement.
Right.
And I guess my question to you, I am a Bernie supporter. There's some other decent candidates out there now, but as a Bernie supporter, I'll probably support the Democratic candidate, but I don't like what I'm already hearing the Democratic establishment is doing.
Sure.
But what can we do to be positive when we hear these negative things out there?
When you hear negative things about Bernie, or when you hear that there is an establishment movement developing against Bernie?
The latter.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you need to make your voice heard. So it needs to be exposed that this movement is starting. And I'm not even decided yet that I'm supporting Bernie in the primary. I'm going to be making my decision soon. But I'm against any movement that is establishment Democrats trying to stop Bernie. So what I'm doing is I'm telling people that it's going on. If we expose it at every opportunity, that's one aspect of it. The DNC claims already, they've claimed that they're not going to meddle, but DNC, Democratic Party higher-ups are already getting involved. So we just need to keep exposing it at every opportunity, and that's what I plan to do.
Thanks. I'm going to keep the positive attitude, maybe support Bernie, but he's my top choice now, but that might change. Thanks, David.
All right. Thanks very much. Great to hear from you. Let's see. Let's go to, I believe it's Josiah. Is this Josiah?
Hey, David.
Uh-oh. It is you. You've got a atrocious connection today, Josiah.
Can you hear me any better?
Yeah, that is better.
Sorry, I was on speakerphone.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Just a little question because I've been recently having talks with one of my older friends who's an old school Democrat.
Yep.
It seems like I'm watching him turn to the right in real time because last time I talked to him, he outright told me that my generation's gonna have to fix this by ourselves, and this time around he's starting to spout some of the right wing one-liners that you hear about, men being pushed off to the side. And I was wondering, like, how would I try and keep them to the, truth?
Well, I've said this before. My general advice is that these sort of aggressive argumentation techniques and just showing people facts rarely, particularly when they're like attracted to the sort of atmosphere of an ideology or movement rather than the specifics. It's like the facts don't really matter. As a general thing, I think it's useful to ask questions about how they came to the conclusions that they're coming to, ask questions to
Yeah.
try to get them to defend with facts their position rather than giving counterfacts. Ask them to defend their positions with facts and ask what it is that would change their mind hypothetically. And that, I think, is one of the more effective ways to get conversations going that can ultimately change people's minds.
Mm. Now, when it comes to Bernie Sanders, because he recently had like a few huge slam dunks, one of the things I began wondering is, should he drop running as president and become someone's VP? Because after Trump, whoever becomes president is going to have to spend a lot of time rekindling our relationships overseas. Like, do you think he should become VP so he can govern and actually do stuff from the
Uh,
background?
why? But so can he do it as president as well?
Hmm. No, this is just an idea I've heard like other people floating towards me, and since I don't know about it as much as I would like to, I was wondering if like you would have an idea on it.
No, I mean, Bernie's leading the polls right now. So I don't know why he would say, I'm going to just jump out and be someone's vice president. That doesn't make sense to me.
All right, thank you for answering my questions.
All right. Very good. Appreciate the call. We're taking phone calls right now at 617-830-4750. We have a whole bunch of people holding, but I have a little secret. If you want to get on with me right away, you can sign up at davidpakman.com/membership. And when you sign up, include your area code in the first or last name field in addition to your name, because then when your new membership comes in, I'll see your area code and then I will immediately go to you if you call in. Okay. So it's sort of like expedited get on the phone. Sign up, include your area code, and then I will get directly to you, which is very, very exciting. Let's go to our caller from the 813 area code. Who's calling today from 813? 813. I can sort of hear some background noise. I think that's you there.
Hi, David. This is Ashley from St. Petersburg.
Hey, Ashley.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
Just had a quick question that I've been asking different people that I could get in touch with.
People like who?
Just friends. I don't want to fixate on that because I have to go in a minute. But I was wondering
Okay.
if you had a particular strategy of how to defeat, in a sense, if it's possible, the right-wing propaganda machine that we see in place with Fox News is pumping out xenophobic, anti-immigrant nonsense 24/7. Is it enough to penetrate that bubble of people inculcated within those beliefs, or to move forward as a society, even with a president on the left, are we going to have to dismantle this system entirely? I kind of don't see a way forward without doing this, and I was curious to get your opinion.
I don't think you have to dismantle the entire system. Net neutrality and internet freedom is a huge part of this. Counter programming is a huge part of this, and quite frankly, not to the David Pakman Show by itself is not the solution to this problem. But if as if as a progressive movement, we understand that we unthinkingly are funding all of those right-wing propaganda channels just by having cable subscriptions, then we have to say, let's actually support the counter programming. Let's support programs like the David Pakman Show or whatever program is important to you, because you can't simultaneously want to pierce the bubble created by these channels and not financially support the alternatives. So I think that counter programming is one of the biggest things, and we've got to fight for net neutrality.
That seems totally fair. I definitely support both those things. I would love to have a longer conversation if have more time. I guess I would have more questions about systemically how we would tackle that beyond net neutrality, beyond cutting the cord, etc.
Right.
But thank you for answering my question, David.
Thank you. Yeah, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know it's busy over there, so I'll let you go. Ashley from St. Pete. Great to hear from you. Ford 8484 is asking, what's the phone number again? The phone number for phone calls is 617-830-4750. 617-830-4750. Jimmy from Philly, the angry Trumpist, has arrived on hold. I am going to go to the chat to see if I should talk to him. Some people love hearing from him. Others are sick of Jimmy from Philly. So I'm going to leave it up to the chat, because I could hear from him or not. It's sort of, I don't really care one way or the other. He calls and leaves voicemails all the time. We have a no. We have a no. Skip, don't waste your time. No, 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 no. Yes, Jimmy. No. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, no, no. Yes, no, yes. Skip, yes, 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 no, no, no. Okay, I am having a hard time figuring out exactly whether the yeses or the nos are winning. So what I'll do is, when Jimmy gets to the top of the queue, because there are people who have been waiting longer, if I'm still taking phone calls, I will talk to him. Let's see. Val from Agawam is on the phone. What's going on, Val?
Hi, David. How are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. You can hear me okay?
You know, Val, your connection is pristine as always.
Oh, great. That is my goal. Thank you so much for that outstanding coverage of the Bernie Fox town hall. I really appreciated you doing that.
My pleasure.
I agree with your assessment completely that he absolutely dominated in a way that I had not seen before.
Absolutely.
I was wondering, did you hear that Joe Biden was in Boston today?
No, I did not. What was he doing?
Supposedly he was supporting a union that's on strike. Stop and Shop, I don't know if you've heard, but many of the Stop and Shops are on strike.
This is the craziest thing. My mom...
It's affecting me personally, actually.
Yeah. My mom, who lives out in Western Massachusetts, she called me yesterday, and she said she had no idea what was going on. There's a strike. The workers at Stop and Shop are striking. She went to one of the Stop and Shops, and she went inside. She had no idea what was going on. She saw a protest was going on outside, just went inside, and she was effectively strike breaking. She was crossing the picket line without even knowing, and she's a huge union supporter. And she just got like an eerie feeling because there were no customers or employees or products inside of Stop and Shop, and she ended up leaving. And then she called me and I said, "Mom, what are you doing? You're breaking the picket line. You're crossing the picket line." And then she said, "Yeah, well, it was just so weird in there that I ended up going somewhere else." And she is now supporting the striking workers at Stop and Shop.
Oh, well, good. Yeah. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That means a lot.
Now, that's interesting that I didn't realize Joe Biden was keyed into that, and that's interesting.
Yes, actually, I know somebody in my family works for Stop and Shop and is greatly affected by this, and he received a text that Biden was in Boston.
Fascinating. I didn't even know. I guess I did know there are Stop and Shops in Boston. Yeah, well, that's all. It's good stuff. We'll see how it ends up and see what they get. Now, I think it's important. I don't want to, and I know you know, Val, what the other big supermarket chain is in Western Mass. Let's not mention it, but
no, I won't.
There's a different supermarket chain in Western Massachusetts that a lot of people are saying, I'm supporting the striking workers at Stop and Shop. I'm going to the other chain. The other chain has been anti-union for like 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
So, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other in some way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking my call. It's always great to talk to you. Happy Passover to you and your family. Hope it's not boring. Hope it's fun.
Thank you very much. Yes, I will be having bitter herbs before you know it. Val from Agawam, always great to hear from you. And are you on a landline, by the way? Because the connection is just so good.
No, this is my cell.
Cell, incredible, incredible. All right, Val, great to hear from you. Thank you very much. Let's see. We got a question about Argentinian food recipes. Yeah, there's just so many. I wouldn't even know what to tell you. The Argentinian equivalent. Listen, most Argentinian recipes are modified from some other cuisine, either Italian or French in most cases. I'll do an Argentinian food show at some point. And thanks to CCL, who has sent a $5 super chat. Okay, one of our new members is calling in from the 716. 716, you're on the air. Remind me which new member this was. Was this Sean? 716, are you there?
Jason.
Jason. What's going on, Jason? Thanks for your support.
Yeah, Jason Ford.
Yeah, absolutely. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, okay. I'm watching you right now on YouTube. There's kind of like an echo delay effect there.
Yeah, all you've got to do is mute your phone or computer so that you just hear me on the phone. That's the way to do it. Oh, dear.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to say, big fan of the show. I got into you after Kyle Kalinske. I watched Secular Talk, and I got into you.
Okay, listen, before we go further, turn down whatever you're using to listen to the stream. You got to turn that down, and then it'll solve the echo problem.
Okay. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I got you, man.
Okay, good.
All right, yeah, PC. I wanted to ask you a question about, I'm kind of hopeless, man, here, like in trying to convert any type of Trumpist.
Yep.
At the same time, I'm hopeless with getting out a vote. I mean, progressives just don't come out to vote. That's the issue. And there's this dogmatic personality with Trump now.
Yep.
That's so strong that like, what do you think about like how do we burst that bubble? Because clearly, like you can't. I mean, Bernie did a good job with his town hall, but that's not going to get through to enough people.
Listen, here's the thing.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think we should waste any time trying to. So, okay, at the national level, Bernie's offered an hour on Fox News. Take it. Right. He impressed a whole bunch of people. At the individual level, I just wouldn't waste my time trying to convince Trumpists. We don't need to convince a single Trumpist in order to win in 2020. We just need to get out like 5% more of the vote in key swing states. Like that's it. The recipe is very simple. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it is very simple. And I would not waste my time trying to convert Trumpists or at the one-on-one level, pierce their bubble. It's a waste of time.
Right now, yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with like the people that are too far gone, if you will. But the people that essentially got him elected, the people in those 3 states,
right?
Was like 80,000 people or whatever the number is vaguely. Those people we need to convince. That's what I'm worried about. Like, how do we convince them?
You're saying the people that voted Trump in from those 3 key states?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. We don't need to convince them. We just got to get turnout up like 5%, and then we win.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm kind of pessimistic about the turnout.
Well, have you ever tried?
Maybe
if you're
Obama's first.
Yeah, Jason. If you're pessimistic about the turnout, have you ever tried to convince a Trumpist to see logic and reason? I'd be way more pessimistic about the success chance of that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we get older. Shit, I'm the same age, around the same age as you. I don't really focus on the 18-year-olds and how enthusiastic they are about voting now. I mean,
hopefully they come out. I mean, I don't know. I mean, people like Sam Cedar's age are not like progressive. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Well, Sam's pretty
I
progressive,
don't
but
think the
yeah, I mean,
turnout's
so
going to be
again,
like really.
tailor the get out the vote to people that are on our side. We're not trying to get the vote out from people who aren't progressive. Just there's plenty of progressives around who agree with progressive ideas. We just got to let them know, hey, there's people that you can
Yeah.
vote for. Jason, thank you so much for
Yeah.
the call and really
Yeah, I hear you.
appreciate your
All right,
support.
man. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank
All right.
you. CCL sends a super chat. Thank you for promoting critical thinking. We appreciate your hard work, honesty, integrity, and critical thinking. Thank you. P.S. Keep up the excellent work. Let's go to the 956 area code. Who's calling today from 956?
Hey, my name is Adrian Pulido from Edinburgh, Texas. Right
Hey,
here,
Ad.
very, very tip of South Texas.
Very good to hear from you. I appreciate the call.
Yeah, no, thank you for taking it. Thank you for covering Bernie, and I'm looking forward to your coverage on the Mueller Report and what can happen from it.
Absolutely. What's on your mind today?
All right, so I work in finance, and I lean very much progressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge Bernie fan or supporter, but with the free college, right? And this is just my idea, and I would like for you to maybe like push back on it.
Okay.
But I don't believe there should be free college for everyone. I believe that there should be as America to compete with the rest of the world, there should be free college for certain majors and specialties that actually we need and we lack, such as like the STEM field, engineers, finance majors, accountants, coding, cybersecurity. I find it really hard for me to pay for someone's, liberal arts degree when they're going to graduate into a saturated job market and not be able to find a job into for us to get a return on investment because it is the taxpayers fitting the bill. What do you think?
Okay, so let's take it in two different sort of ideas. The first idea is that we should be incentivizing people to make certain career choices on the basis of what's necessary and beneficial and in demand. Completely agree with you. However, remember, we're talking only about public colleges and universities. We're talking, depending on which plan you look at, we're talking about just tuition, which is just one component of what college costs. And you still have to get in, okay? So the idea that there's going to be a radical sort of overutilization of college if it's free. Yeah, I mean, enrollment at state colleges and universities may go up, but it can only go up to the extent that the colleges have capacity for that. And you still have to get in, and colleges have entrance requirements, and it's not just like community college where you sign up and get in. So I think the issue that you're saying you're worried about is just not nearly as big of an issue as you're making it out to be. But beyond that, I don't have a problem figuring out ways for government to incentivize people to go into particular fields. I just don't know that saying free college only in certain industries makes sense, because a lot of those other career paths have significant societal value that may not be as in demand in industry in the same way. So I don't know that I would do it the exact way you're suggesting, but I'm completely up for incentivizing people to make career decisions that are based on the degree of demand for those positions, for sure.
Yeah, no, I would agree on that. I have a lot of friends who went into psychology and like don't work within that field, but if we were to invest into certain infrastructures and like public health and mental health, those people can find jobs later down the line. It's more so as like, the saturation of the job market. But I do agree with you that not everybody gets in and you have to meet a certain level. I just want to get your take on it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, incentivize away. I just wouldn't start doing, the other issue with that is that there are all sorts of different demographic lines and sociocultural lines among which people choose majors and concentrations. And the last thing we want to do is to end up creating sort of categories of concentrations that are going to further increase some of those demographic inequalities. And that's what you may end up with if you start kind of picking and choosing who gets to go for free and who doesn't, because there's many other factors that sort of determine what paths are interesting to people, and we wouldn't want to be discriminatory in any way.
I definitely would agree with that. I mean, yeah, I guess there are some social economical effects that come into where people fall into more of an issue. Say you don't have internet, and how can we expect you to learn how to code or take a job like that? So I definitely see where you're thing. And lastly, just a comment. I live here on the southern border. It's one of the safest places in the world. I love it. And thank you for taking my call.
All right. And it sounds like you put us on speakerphone at the end there, a little going away gift. Very, very much appreciate the phone call. He thought I wasn't going to notice. And of course, everybody in the chat very, very clearly noticed. Okay, that does it for me tonight. Sorry to everybody I didn't get to, including people who wanted to hear from Jimmy from Philly. Congratulations to people who didn't, but we are just out of time. There will be another live stream before you know it.